ER fam, how's everybody doing? Hope everybody had a great day and a great weekend. Had a pretty good one. We went and saw the Grand Illumination Parade on Saturday, so I got to see them light up downtown in the Virginia area, Norfolk area, and yeah, they had the parade and all that good stuff. So it was actually a lot of fun. So and it wasn't too cold, so that's always a nice thing. Anyway, guys, so let's talk about what's happening. We'll talk about DR today, but I wanted to back up a little bit and just give you guys, we've been talking a lot about the, higher time frames and using how do I use fair value gaps, etc. And, as I was doing my setup last night and I saw some stuff, I'm like, it might be good for the, for the crew to kind of understand or see it and understand how, when I talk about it, what I mean. All right, so let's go. A couple things I want to show you. All right, and this is actually a weekly time frame, right? So we're going really, really high time frame, right? The most cycle is a monthly, but let's weekly. It'll be good for us. And what I want you to notice is these fair value gaps, right? I'm not talking about sell side and buy side liquidity. I'm talking about these fair value gaps that we use, from ICT. Okay, so first one, let's go back. All right, let's look way back here in March. All right, that's how crazy this is. March of 2022. Okay, y'all see, or 2022, probably February, January, going into that March, right? Okay, notice something here. This is weekly, right? So that's a horrible drawing. Let me try to. I need like a straight line draw thing on here. All right, but let's see if I can get it relatively as close enough. It's a little bit off. It should be a little bit higher. It should be up here somewhere. But anyway, I'm not going to worry about that. But what I want you to understand is the concept behind this, right? So this was a bearish fair value gap, right? Which means price wants to go down, okay? Now we up here, now so price comes down off of that fair value gap. So it started way back here, right, and carries all the way through. So we went up a little bit, went to this fair value gap, and then rejected, and it's kept coming down, okay? All right, hold tight. I'm going to show you something else in a second here, all right? Then we went back up again, okay? Um, and where do we turn around at? Well, lo and behold, if I look right here, if I draw this out, this was another bearish fair value gap, which means price wants to go down. So then price comes back down again, okay? All right, now let's look at the next one. This was let me back that off a little bit so I can, all right, so price went down, right? So we turn around and price wants to go back up, and let me not mess my drawings up here first. Okay, but let's look at this one. Here's a bullish fair value gap. Carry that all the way across. Okay, look what happens when we get into that gap. 1, 2, 3. Price turns back around and goes up. Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. How do I know it's going to come back down? What do I see? All right. Well, let's look at this one. Here's another one. I know it's getting a little cloudy, but hopefully this will pay attention. So 1, 2, and I'm gonna be right 1, 2, right here. Okay, look what else we have. This is a bearish fair value gap. Price wants to go down. Price goes into it, comes back down. Into it, comes back down. You see what's going on? Here, we're going back up. Okay, we get here. All right, now we get over here. Okay. All right, so that's my barrier. I guess it's horrible. I know you guys can't see it, but hopefully you just pay attention and rewind if you have to. But look what happens next, right? So everybody's let me just say if we got that concept, okay? So bearish fair value gap, price comes down, okay? Goes back up, goes back into the gap, comes back down. This is a weekly, right? Goes back up, comes back down, right? Goes up, comes down, right? Horrible drawing. Sorry for that, but hopefully that makes sense to you. You guys can see what I'm talking about here. All right, let me get rid of all of this, okay? And what I want to do is come down a little bit, like I can see it. Well, this is the December contract, so I won't be able to see that far back. If I was using ES1, I probably would. But okay, so right, remember the one up here we talked about, and you take that all the way across. Look what happens, right there. Okay, right here. Take this across. Boom. What happens? Right there. Right. Look at this one. Take it across. We got one here, and we got one there, right? These are all places where price has gone into those gaps, into those fair value gaps, and has done what it's supposed to do, which is reverse. Okay, and then we have others that have already been closed out. That's why they're not still on here. But even like say up here, this was the result of a gap. Okay, closing. This is a result of a gap here. All right, boom, and then boom. Right, that's another gap. You know, there's a gap up here as well. If I take it up here and I go, let's go 1, 2. I can't draw that one. Let me see. No, actually, that's not a gap up there because it actually went higher. So never mind. Let's erase that one. All right. But understand what's happening, right? So as price goes into these gaps, price just starts to follow the rules. It may not happen that week, or it may not happen like the first day, but across that week it'll happen. So look where we are now. Okay, we have come way back, and this was from like February, March. This one formed, and we are now coming back up to. We came back up to it. All right, rejected off of it. Okay, kept coming down, went back into another gap to go the opposite direction, and now we're headed this way. Okay, now we have not closed this gap, right? These gaps, if they're still on the screen, and I'm gonna get rid of all this again, if they're still on the screen, that means they have not been closed. Okay, so this gap has not, this gap has not been closed. This gap has not been closed. This gap has not been closed. All right, that makes sense? So, all right, so let's talk about where we are now. Okay, we're here, right? All right, there's another little gap there. So we're doing one or two things. If I can make it so you guys can see it. And I'm going to try to do my best to draw this one over here again. Let's see. Good enough for government work. Okay, so we had a rejection here. Okay, we had a move back up on this gap here. All right, we came down, we went up. Now, where do you think this one's going? Where do you think it's going? What do you think is going to happen? Oh, wait, 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, tell you what I'm expecting to happen. I'm expecting us to go back up. All right, so this gap is actually inside of this other gap. So I'm expecting us to go up here. Okay, and then one or two things is going to happen. We're going to actually come back down. Okay, we're gonna go up, into that. We have a buy side up here that we can probably take out. That's a weekly and a monthly right here, right? So there's some options here for us to go. All right. Now I'm doing all this because honestly today was a pretty easy DR day. So hopefully you guys don't mind me just talking more about the higher time frames. All right. So that's the weekly. Okay, you guys can see it. Now I'm using I'm using Nephew Sam's fair value gap indicator on TradingView. Right, so if you wanted to automatically draw the boxes for you, right, the gaps for you, it'll do that, right? So that's the Nephew Sam one. Now the difference is, the reason why I have some of these kind of highlighted out here, because these are ones that are current, but if I change time frames, it won't keep the box, okay? So like for instance, this is weekly. When I switch down to daily, I'll get a different set of boxes because now that's on a daily time frame, okay? That makes sense? All right, so you don't see the weekly ones anymore. So this is what daily looks like. And let me get rid of this new week opening gap so it's not as bad, hard to see. Okay, so, all right, so that's what I mean. So now we'll see like different fair value gaps here, okay, on the daily side. Now we still do have one up here that's a bearish fair value gap, okay, right up here, which means that I'm headed that direction, right, which is what we just said, right? We're thinking about going up to probably around 45, 60. Let's see, we're at 45, 66 now. Let's see where we're at. Hold on, guys. And I promise we're going to get to DR in 2 seconds, okay? So what we did today was we actually took out this, we had taken out this buy side earlier, and we took out this buy side liquidity, a weekly buy side, right? Excuse me, took that out today. Okay, which means that we went up and right once like we went up and then we kind of came back down and kind of closed right below that. So let's see what that looks like really quick on the lower time frames. But you guys see up here we have gaps, fair value gaps, We have a pretty big one up here. So expectation for me is that we're going to go up here and come back. Okay, because we noticed on the daily we went down and went back, and we started going back up again, and now we'll see where we're up here. We'll start to come back down. Okay, that's my thought. All right, now I just have to get through these various sell side and sell side, buy side liquidity lines, which I'm thinking that's going to be okay, because these are weekly and monthly, so these are strong as well. Okay, all right, so does that make sense? If not, sorry, my bad. No, I'm just kidding. Ask some questions if it doesn't make sense. All right, let's drop down really quick down into what happened today. Run to our 5 minute. And today was one of those days where it was a one trade day, honestly. And honestly, for me, I did take the trade, and I'll show you what ended up happening. I only took 4 points off of this trade, believe it or not, and that's because I just really didn't have time. I couldn't watch the trade, so I had a meeting at 11, and right around, well, we'll look at it, but right around this time is when it start to we start to kind of lollygag and kind of consolidate there, and I was like, I can't watch this anymore, and I just ended up just taking the trade off. I was also in an options trade for SPY, which kind of did the same thing. It had 100% return on that trade, and it went to end up going up to like 700%. So by the time the day was up, but you can see today we had a let's go with our what day we had. Well, let's see what our range was. Range today was 45. Let's see, 25 up to 45, 42. So what's that? 18 points roughly. Okay, so actually a pretty good day as far as range goes. All right, and let me make this a little bit bigger so we can just go ahead and jump in here real quick. All right, so what do we do, right? We had this kind of movement today. We did have a reversal at 10 o'clock like we do have sometimes. Expectation, didn't have one. Okay, let's see what happens. Now we did go and we confirmed high. Okay, right here, right at 10:45 roughly on that candle, we confirmed high. We retraced. All right, orders right here on. We didn't go down. We didn't go down to IDR. We went up to, so order was on DR high, and now so that's at 45.43. Okay, so 5 points for me is 45.48, which is right up here. All right, and so, like I said, I had a meeting at 11, so we kept kind of playing around here, and we started going up and down, and went down some more. And like honestly, I had I remember the number. It actually got to 45, 47.50 is where the high of this candle was, and I needed like 2 more ticks, and it just wasn't happening. And so I moved my stop loss up to 4 points, gave myself like 2 ticks of grace, and see right here, this went down, and that was it, right? So I stopped out at 4 points. I had 2 contracts. I was okay with that. All right. I mean, still, that's a pretty good return for what's that? 15 minutes or so. So I was okay there. Even put in my group, hey, got a meeting, can't watch this anymore. And we actually consolidated for a while, all the way into the lunchtime. Had a little bit of up movement, and went back down again. So at no other time did we actually come back down into the DR zone. So there was nothing really to do there. So if you weren't in the trade, there really wasn't, from a DR perspective, anywhere to get into the trade, right? Which is why, again, I would say set your alerts. Let them tell you when to be paying attention, because that's what happened to me. I had an alert set, and as soon as it hit it, I was like, oh, let me look. Next candle retraced, and then I was in the trade. All right, I was waiting for it to. I was looking to see if it's going to go down to below IDR, but it didn't, and so I got picked up, and it just did its thing. Okay, now we had this huge. I don't know what happened at 1 o'clock. Honestly, guys, I was getting out busy. Huge move up here. So I'm not sure what that was. Somebody tell me in the comments what happened. And then the bulls just really just took over right at that point. So if you look at today, just from a DR standpoint, 45, 43, you could have held that one all the way up to 45. What's that? 70. So how many points is that? 43, 53, 63, 20, 27 points. So that is not a bad day at the office if you were into that trade, right? So that's it, guys. Again, not a whole lot from a DR standpoint today. Just that one really nice trade. And like I said, if I was able to watch this today, I would have still been in the trade. I would have gotten, 10, 15 points off of that at least, because there was no heat here, right? It just was consolidating. And so because I couldn't watch it and I wasn't, I didn't want to I didn't want to move my stop loss up into profit, because again, if that happens, you can tell it's only like 2 or 3 points right here. So if I had gotten above 5 points, and it kept moving up, then I would have set my stop loss there and waited for it to move. So, like my Jamaican mother always says, such is life, right? With tomorrow's another day. And I wasn't expecting much this week because, it's a short week, Thanksgiving. Let's all give thanks, by the way. But a short week, and there's nothing, figure everybody's on vacation, and looks like I don't know if they started Christmas rally early or what happened, but, we'll see what happens tomorrow. And then the rest of the week. So anyway, but the big news here was, again, looking at some of those fair value gaps or the higher time frames. Just draw them out, see what they tell you. I think the way if you actually draw those out to the end of the page, I just didn't do it. So rather than me having to try to draw them myself, I'll try that another day. But anywho, all right, guys. Hopefully this was helpful, and leave a comment in the chat. Love on your loved ones. You never know when you're going to be able to do it again. So take advantage of each and every opportunity. And make sure you give thanks. This week I had a quote. I have a group at work. I do a weekly quote, just kind of inspiration. And, the quote this week was, oh gosh, it was something like joy or happiness is kind of, being thankful for what you have. Right? So it's something like that. It was anonymous. I'll get the right verbiage, but it was something along those lines. And I was like, you know what? That's very accurate, because no matter how you're doing, A, there's somebody probably worse off than you. And then B, just be thankful what you got. And, because again, you could have a lot less. So anyway, appreciate you guys. Thankful for each and every one of you that hang out with me and listen to me talk through, kind of my day and how I trade this thing we call DR. All right. Again, questions, put them in the comments as you always do, and I'll make sure I respond, or just drop me a DM or something like that. All right, guys. Be easy, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. All right. Y'all be good.